Well, hello again, everybody. I decided I wasn't quite tired yet tonight and was going to go ahead and play a little bit more. And in this episode, we are going to, on this stream, sorry, not episode, but stream. Um, hey, DOA Hitman, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Um, I've always been a huge NASCAR fan. Well, I used to be a huge NASCAR fan, not as big now as I was then, but I figured I have been playing some NASCAR Dirt to Daytona recently on my Eon Gaming equipped GameCube, and finally got my Wavebird working properly and having gone racing over the weekend. Um, yeah, DOA, if you are a racing fan and a so before I got into like a lot of the newest game. Well, even the newest games aren't that good. I played a lot of NASCAR racing from first Papyrus and then Sierra. This is similar to it. It's more sim based, but you can actually do a lot of things setup wise. Let's jump into the calendar here. And looks like we've got a NASCAR weekly series. So basically, where I'm at in the game right now is I have obviously you start off in the Dirt Oval, the NASCAR Weekly Series, and then you get up to the modifieds, and I've unlocked that so far. So I'm working on progressing through there. So we'll take you through to Hastings Motorsports Park, um, and just a really good dirt oval sim. If you like dirt oval racing, this is definitely something uh, that you would enjoy. I'm going to go straight to qualifying because I've got really good setups here on all the dirt ovals. This is my second or third season now through on the dirt oval side of things. So there you can see my fast lap overall was a 16.2. Too wide off two. That was not a good lap. Probably should have practiced. So 17.2, that should put me in the B group. Well, no, but it's not that fast. So basically now qualifying is over. You have your semifinals. Brian, too old to stay up this late. Yes, you are. You should have come this weekend, man. You could have seen an old dude wield a 2S 8-scale buggy against the guys running 4S and smoke most of them. So now from here, it is, I think, the top 6 bump to the A, and then if you're either 5 or 6 bump to the A directly, and then if you're not within there, you can bump up from the B main. Four wide into 1 and 2 isn't going to work. Oh, crap. Well, that's not going to work well either. I just took him out a little bit ago. I don't know why he's prancing. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure we are going to be in the B resort here. Blowed up. If I played Heat 2, would you watch it? Yeah, I actually have not. Why is my live? Oh, because it's top chat, not live chat. That's why I'm not seeing all the. Well, let me change that real quick. Done blowed the engine up. And for some reason, Streamlabs isn't letting me change it. Yeah, I haven't bought Heat 2. I bought Heat 1 and really did not care for it. Go to live chat there. Now I can see everything. Physics aren't bad when you don't blow it up. So now we're going to have to bump from the B to the A and the A to win it. The one thing that I have found is, generally speaking, in this, at least the steering box is a little bit too sensitive. I'd like to throw a little bit exponential in here. Let's see, miscellaneous grill tape, 40. I'll drop that down to 30, and then drop the final gear from a 583 to a... we'll go to a 120. I think that'd be a little bit less drastic of a change. Hey, Edgar, how you doing? It was one of those, couldn't sleep, so I figured I'd check things out. I own it, downloading it. Only problem is, Gary, I don't think you'll be available when I play it, and the game is better when better than one. Well, go ahead and do some streaming. Just send me a link when you're done, and I'll check it out after the fact. Get to start tail end Charlie 7 laps to get to the front of the pack. Well, it's time to put bumper to bumper here and move my way up through the pack, because staying up on the high side, I wasn't going to go anywhere. The other thing on the dirt oval tracks is if you catch the cushion on the inside, it will grab you and spin you out. And it's also one of the perfect examples of loose is fast and on the edge out of control. Excuse me, gotta go. See you when I see you. Too hot into one. Way too hot. Killed my drive off the corner. Here we go. That's better. Oh, got the inside. And the crowd goes mild. Feathering it just a bit going on the corner seems to help carry a little bit more roll speed from the middle of the corner out. From 10th to 1st. Hey, Chit Chat, Daytona USA, Sega Rally are still two of my favorite racing games. Yeah. I heard that Kevin Owens quit, though, Mike, so maybe things will get better. Yeah, and actually, I do have right here, you mentioned Sega Rally. That bad boy right there. So we'll see what happens. Let's see if we can. So in the world of RC racing. Oh, that's awesome. In the world of RC racing, we call this alphabet racing, where you try to bump from the D to the C to the B to the A. Well, I bumped from the B to the A. So we'll see what happens here, starting third from last. At least I'm on the inside. Got 10 laps to see what we can do here. Oh, I Kyle Bushed him. Actually, what's funny, so I've met Kyle Busch, super nice guy. I met Jimmy Johnson, guy was a jackass. So I've talked before on the channel about working for RC Driver Magazine for a couple of years. We did demos and stuff with RC cars at Indianapolis. and we would do it on Friday, which was Chevy Day at the Brickyard. And Kyle Busch was driving for Hendrick Motorsports at the time, so he was there, and he and his brother Kurt actually used to work at a Hobbytown USA, which is a hobby shop in Las Vegas. And Kurt was running for Roush at the time, so he wasn't there, but Kyle came by, and that's when he was still driving the 5-car. Super chill, super laid back, was really interested in everything that we were doing. Jimmy Johnson came up and was like, I know what I'm doing. I've done this before, blah, 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 and like totally destroyed 3 cars.
That was a great lap.
The best part of that weekend, though, was getting to meet Richard Childress, being a Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan. And probably my favorite line I whipped out through the whole weekend, since it was an RC event. You can't have RCR, Richard Childress Racing, without RC. And so, by the way, you like that little side job there, proving that 8 tires corner better than 4? Got 4 to go. I'm running 3rd. And one of the things that I'm doing too is listening to the engine RPM to tell too when the car is getting too oversteery versus understeery. If the engine loads up, that's going to cost me speed down the back straightaway. So basic driving terms for those who have not, are not familiar with them. Oversteer is when you go into a corner and the rear end would hit the wall first, and understeer is when you go into a corner and the front end would hit the wall first. And I will check the chat as soon as this main is over. I don't know that I've got enough time here to catch first.
Last lap.
On the dirt, at least the cool thing is lots of steering input, and you can really make a difference to the way the car gets through the corners. They don't, at least not till you get to the higher tiers. There's no cautions. Well, you just mentioned Busch and Johnson, the stream while my day is made. Yeah. Favorite driver of all time is Dale Sr. Current favorite driver,
The race is going green. There's green.
I don't know that I have a favorite right now. Least favorite of all time, I'm not a big Jimmy Johnson fan. In fact, I will not shop at Lowe's specifically because of Jimmy Johnson. Oversteery, yes. All right. So now you can check here too. I've running the season championship as well. 6 wins, 7 top 5s. I'd say that's pretty consistent on the dirt oval side of things. I don't think I have a comfortable enough points lead, though. Let's see what the next race would be. And you go through here, too, and you actually get options where you can upgrade sponsors as well, depending on what the payouts would be. Lead the most laps. So none of the new potential sponsors are any better than what I already have, so I'm going to stay put with what I have. And those are my actual race colors of blue, white, and orange. Car number 37 is normally what I run. Not an option here, so I'm car number 400. So now, this will be a cool one. Richmond International Raceway running the Featherlights. Featherlight Modifieds. I don't know what they call them now because it's not Featherlight Trailer sponsored. Oh, come on, Brian. You know that you love oversteery. So here's when I get to a new track, and I actually haven't run Richmond with this car yet, so I'm going to go to Garage. And they actually have some pretty decent preloaded setups. So I'm going to go and I'm going to load the Advanced. But a couple things that I always do, take 5 to 10 degrees out of the spoiler angle. We'll start at 10. Going to bump the grill tape up a little bit. Take the wheel lock down a little bit. That's the throw of the front tires. I may have already been there, Mike, depending on what the name of the track is. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then gears, I always like running a shorter gear, which means a higher number. That'll give you more acceleration, less top end. So 422 to a 433, or I can go to a 105. You know what? I'm going to try this 433 to starters. All right, Brian, take it easy, man. Yeah, we're going to hit the track and do some practice. We're talking practice. Yeah, Mike, that it is, no pun intended, it is a game changer. I love this. The GCHD is just amazing. So it does have a pit road speed limiter there. Now, the one thing too, if you're hearing the tires chirp and chatter, you're losing speed somewhere. You're either understeering or oversteering, or hitting the wall. There, if you guys heard middle of the corner out, I had to lift off the throttle, so that tells me the car's got a little bit of understeer. A couple ways I can change that. I can change the front springs, front air pressure. It's also one of those things where I have to pay attention to where is the car driving poorly. Is it on the entry of the corner, middle of the corner out, or middle of the corner, or on the exit of the corner? Generally speaking, if it's on entry, it's a front end thing. Middle of the corner, it could be either end of the car, and middle of the corner out, that's generally the rear end. Now, I'm also listening to the RPMs of the engine, and I'm paying attention to the amber LED that's above the tachometer there. I'm not seeing it flicker at all. Normally at the end of the straightaway, I want it to flicker slightly. That means that I'm getting basically the best out of the engine possible. That pass actually started going into the corner, seeing that car was staying low. I was able to get the apex of the corner and then let the car have its full head of steam, middle of the corner out. Now, because I hit the inner curb. Oh, no, that didn't cost me. So I think that's pretty decent. 12 noon Eastern. Tomorrow I might be. Hey, J-Love, I sent you an email. I don't know if you saw it. DOA, send me a tweet to remind me. J-Love, are you using a Samsung phone to record your videos? So I'm going to go back in here, and I'm glad that you guys like the old school TV. I just think it fits. So I'm going to go back to gears. I'm going to drop fourth gear down to 105. What was your favorite racing game? Mine is Mario Kart next to F-Zero. Depends on my mood. I like the F1 racing games a lot. This is probably my favorite oval racing game of all time. Mario Kart is a classic. Okay, I'm going to send you a link to an app, Jen. So how I knew that you were using a Samsung phone was in your, if you guys haven't done it yet, go to J-Love's channel, check out her pickups video that she just did from the Southeast Game Exchange. How I knew you were using, and I'm willing to bet it's either a Samsung Galaxy S8, S9, or a Note 8 that you're using. Because what happens is as you're going through your video, the camera is trying to autofocus and readjust. You're a Galaxy S9. I knew it. I'm going to send you a link to a different app. It's the one I use a Note 8 to do my stuff with. And it just got annoying to me how it kept refocusing at the least opportune times. And that'll help get rid of it for you. It's a free app that I use. I just don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. One thing that you can always do, too, for a qualifying setup, if you want to go faster just for the lap or two of qualifying, is you can always play around with air pressures, bring the pressures up to give you less rolling resistance. Had to back out of the gas there out of 1 and 2. Did not get a good exit out of there. You can also increase the tape on the grill. That'll give you more straightaway speed. Just don't forget to undo those things before you start a race, because otherwise you're going to be driving a handful. That was a terrible, terrible qualifying lap. And actually, let me check it out here. So I take it back, Jen. It is a paid app. It is called Cinema F as in Frank, V as in Victor -5. It's what I use on my phone here, and then also on my Pixel XL that I use too. So I want to say it's like a $2 app if you pay for it. But the one thing it does do is it eliminates the problem of it constantly zooming while you are recording. I found it because the Pixel XL stock camera will not accept an external microphone. So, or just the app would not accept an external microphone. All right, so we're going to do just a couple quick laps, make sure I like how everything is going here. See if I can get back down into the low 23s with that gear change, because it was kind of a crapshoot. I never practiced it. So here's another thing for any kind of racing, whether it be go-karts or online racing or just playing stuff like this. The key to fast lap time: slow in, fast out. What you want to do is you want to make the straightaways as long as possible. So if you back the entrance of the corner up, you can get on the power sooner, and you basically just carry more speed down the longest parts of the track. So the corners are important because you're trying to minimize how much speed you lose and scrub off. But if you can extend out the length of the straightaways overall, your lap times will come down. Man, all I did was change the gearing, and this thing has just gone to a pooch. Let's see. I did see... but you didn't have... I was expecting you actually to show footage from the show floor, too. So I didn't see that. I just saw the pickup side of it. Now, if there was a second video, I haven't seen that. Let's see. We're going to go back to the garage. We are going to change the gear back to what it was, because I am not liking this. We'll go back to a 1. And check tire temps. They're not great, but they're okay. You know what? We're going to run it like that and see what it does. Let her eat. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Amen.
Whether under the lights or the bright sun of day, Richmond International Raceway is home.
It's actually Alan Bestwick doing that commentary.
Race is going green. There's the green flag.
Wow. I was able to get a pass for the start. It's like he spun the tires or something. Either that or the other advantage of running a higher gear, more RPM, like what I did, is the fact you'll accelerate harder from a dead stop, but it will cost you a little bit of straight line speed, potentially. Now, he rolled the middle of the corner a lot better than I did there. Now, the other thing is aerodynamics do play a difference in this game, too. And as close as I was here to his rear bumper, took air off of my front nose, and that just caused the front end of the car to lose grip as it slid towards the outside wall. The other thing you want to do in any sort of racing too is you want to make the corner as sweeping as you can. Oh, he's got brake checked me there. Again, the main thing is to keep your speed up as you go through the corner itself. I had to turn out a little bit. Just didn't like the way it entered that corner and turned out to the right, and that definitely hurt me there. Now, with a track like Richmond, you have two completely different turns. Turn 1 is a lot shorter. Turn 3 and 4 is more gradual and sweeping. I got down on the apron. That was a terrible line. Terrible. So a lot of times you'll have to compromise and give up a little bit on one end of the track versus the other. Like I would actually like to have a firmer front sway bar to go through 3 and 4. That would actually help me carry a little bit more speed, but then I would lose turn in going into 1 and 2. And as it is, it's already pushing an understeering coming out of there. And that was one of those two where I got lucky with where I caught that lap car to be able to make a decent pass on him. Wow. It takes real talent to crash on a straightaway. Any kind of steering input when you're racing any kind of a simulator is going to slow you down. So if you're not going straight on a straightaway, you're hurting yourself and costing yourself time. Now, because I had to enter turn 1 at such a low angle there, I also could not carry as much speed through the corner, and these guys are going to make me go high, aren't they? I've got a 2.8 second lead on third, so basically it's one of those of I'm not going to catch the leader. I can do something stupid and try to go too fast and hurt myself and get caught by the guy in third, or I can just realize that I've got a second place car and that's where I'm going to finish. Edgar, never really, I have to admit, I've never played any of the Forza games. One of the things with not being an Xbox fan, I kind of feel like I've missed out a little bit. That was a good start, though, getting on the inside. But, man, I had nothing for the leader. Thanks again for everyone for stopping by. I know it's late at night, and I just wanted to play something, so I figured I'd throw the stream going. That was not proper English, by the way. So, finished second there, but have almost a 100-point lead in the season standings. And I'm already maxed out on all my sponsorships, so let's see what we have here. I've got another dirt over race. I mean, this is one of the things that I really like about this game is you get to race in so many different styles of cars, and each one takes a different skill set, quite honestly. Running on a dirt oval is not the same as running on, a high-banked asphalt oval. It's a completely different mindset for throttle and roll speed and what you're going to do with the car and so on and so forth. And even with the dirt oval where you have, you run your qualifiers and then you have a heat race to actually determine your starting position. That's different at this level than with the other classes that you run in this game. Now that one I went way too fast, turns 3 and 4, so it's one of those you got to let off a little bit going into the corner, get the front end to take a set so that you can power it through the rest of the corner and finish it with taking, with losing as little speed as necessary through the corner. Got in the 15s, which is decent. Martinsville is in this in the Truck Series and the Cup Series. So got the pole on that one, 1509 or 1590. So I'm also one of those people where I don't care that much about. It's called the hero lap. It's basically the single fastest lap in any race. Give me a better average, and that definitely makes the difference. Give me a string of 30-second laps versus one guy who can do a 28-second lap and everything else is 32, 33, 34s. Consistency definitely is what pays off in the long run. Now, with that car to the inside, I actually pinned him down and used him to my advantage, where I had him hit me in the left rear. That actually helped the car rotate around the corner. That's not normally the case, that you'd want contact, but in that case, it was actually beneficial. Now, we'll take it after this race. I'll take it through some of the option menus too, because you can totally get different gear for your car too, for aero kits, engine packages, exhaust packages. Just saw something come through the chat. I'll check that in just a moment here. White flag is out. This is the final lap. So, and that's before I got into YouTubing for retro games. I was basically our company YouTuber for racing, and I do all sorts of announcing at different races and whatnot. So, other that is kind of during the Gran Turismo. Yeah, I love Gran Turismo. Castlemania Games is my favorite online store for all retro video game accessories. Nascar Heat 2, I have a love-hate relationship with. See, I hated the first one so much, I never bought the second one. Unfortunately, I thought this was on the Xbox. J-Love, you keep those eyes there lurking and whatnot. I'm going to drop the Megadan 29 Banhammer on you. Make you have to log in underneath another account. Let's see how you like that one. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's right. I went there again. I hope you were drinking something, too, when I said that. Ooh, did not get a good start there. The car on the outside got a much better launch. But I had position. That's one of the things where getting that pole position going in the first corner definitely makes a huge difference. Now, the other thing, too, well, not the other thing, because there's a lot of things that kind of talked about driving-wise. There are some drivers in the RC world where instead of rolling on and off the gas smoothly, they'll jab at it, and what it does, and it does a little bit in this, too, is it loads and unloads the way the weight transfer is front to rear on the car. Basically, if you want the car to turn, let off the gas, and yes, you're slowing down, but the other thing it does is the inertia transfers weight to the nose of the car and will help it turn in better. If you need it to have more traction from the middle of the corner out, when you get on the gas, you want the rear end to squat more, and that will develop more grip. Now, we have setups in our cars because they generally create so much rear grip. There's a setting in there called anti-squat, where basically you kick the rear suspension, the inboard pickup points, you kick them one way or the other, and with anti-squat, you actually take bite away from the rear end so that it rotates better not just middle of the corner, but throughout the entire corner. Oh, I completely went way, way too shallow into that corner, and that killed me. I do love the fact that, I mean, yes, I'm using the outside the car view here, but you can actually see the driver inside the cockpit and his hands working the steering wheel back and forth. Now, I know Ryan's in here right now, and we're playing GameCube games. And, of course, you can get your Eon Gaming GCHD through CastleManiaGames.com. But I know a lot of you were looking at thinking about picking up the Retrobit limited edition. Limited edition of Holy Diver, and the white cartridges, those sold out already. The standard carts are almost gone too. So if you want one of those, that's something you need to move sooner than later because they're going to be gone. And when they're gone, that's why they call it a limited release. I don't think Retrobit's doing another run of these. Who knows? And he's got a run on me with 4 to go. I need to buckle down and get some good lap times in here. He just keeps sticking his nose to the inside. I know he's there.
That was a great lap.
That's right, that was a great lap. You know why? Because I'm Ricky Bobby, damn it. Actually, I hate Ricky Bobby. I thought that movie was terrible. I've never watched that whole movie. I can get to the part where you live with the fear in the car, and it's like, I can't do this anymore. This is so stupid.
Last lap.
Now, the one thing, too, now we've got the GCHD here that I'm playing through, which is awesome. Ryan's also got the Retro Tinks up for pre-order, too, for other systems. Let's see. Let's see. For my colors on PS2 GameCube, I think window. Oh, okay. You know, if you should always just be yourself. Was for the. Huh? I didn't know that. Yeah, I remember that really well. In fact, I think we need to rename him. He is no longer Mega Dan. He's Mega Ban. There's not going to be another. So, what do I do for a living? In my case, retro gaming, but for a living, I'm a photographer, believe it or not. Okay, DOA, we'll see you in a second. One of my brothers were big Jeff Gordon fans. I was a huge Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan. So, in my day-to-day life, I work for a company called Horizon Hobby. I've been there now 13 and a quarter years. My anniversary was back in June. And we are the largest manufacturer and distributor in the U.S. of hobby-grade RC products. So airplanes, drones, cars, trucks, boats. We are like the biggest manufacturer and distributor in the U.S. My role has changed throughout my years at the company. I used to be the save my game here real quick. I used to be the site content specialist for surface-related products. That's a special way or a very specific way of saying I was the car and truck guy. And we had another guy who handled the airplanes and drones and helicopters and stuff along those lines. Basically wrote articles, tips, tricks, how-tos, and then eventually got into working on the video side of things. We did podcasts that I outlined, produced, recorded, was featured on. So yeah, I want to show you guys too that you can go in and actually get different option parts. So I've got $56,000. My dirt oval car is pretty good. I'm not going to spend a whole lot on that. But we're going to go into the Featherlight car because that could use some love. And then we had a change in leadership. And when that change happened, my role changed from the content producer to I became one of the website merchandisers. And basically my responsibility was to determine what to promote on different parts of the website, create graphics, do email input, lots of research in the industry, analytics. So that's what I did for a while there. And then since this past February, I am the email production and coordination manager. So basically, any and every email that comes out from our company, whether it's going to our consumers or our dealer network, I'm the one that has their hands on it. So the design, the layout, the HTML coding, I am doing a lot of that. Now, other people now have input on it. And they always did. Like, we had an air specialist that matched me on the surface side. We're going to do an engine upgrade because I need some power. Let's see. That's heavy. That's lighter than what's in there now, though. Oh, duh. Install part on the right. So that's pretty much what I do now, Edgar, is I do a lot of HTML coding and work on email communications. So if I spend a little more, I can get that. I like that. Because I just want to go fast. I would say now Cyrene, my favorite drivers of all time. I was a huge Earnhardt fan. My personal numbers, like for my baseball jerseys that I have and everything, is 37, 3 for Dale Earnhardt, 7 for 7-time champion. So yeah, I was that much of a geek for Dale Sr. Senior and Junior both won the 500 on my birthday, which I always thought was pretty cool. We got to tune the suspension a little bit, too. I loved Michael Schumacher. Watching him wheel an F1 car was ridiculous. He was just a master. Is it going to let me do that? Yeah, nope. Ayrton Senna, watching him, especially in the wet. Oh, dude was amazing, too. Probably my favorite open-wheel driver of all time, though. I really was a huge Jacques Villeneuve fan. I watched him come up through Indy Lights into IndyCar, watched him win the Indy 500, and then on to Formula One for Williams, then on to BAR Honda and everything. I was just a huge Villeneuve fan. I still have the Mini Frost Mini Wheats box from the app. I remember that. If you remember, too, they used to go to Suzuka and run the road course there, and that was pretty flippin' cool. A friend of mine was at the first Brickyard 400 and was sitting right where Earnhardt hit the wall coming through 1 and 2 on the first or second lap when he was trying. I think it was the first lap because he was trying to lead the first lap ever in competition. He qualified second. Rick Mast was actually on the pole. It's funny that I can remember things like that, but I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday. So I can still remember at Bristol in March of 1995, Terry Labonte had the pole on March the 11th, 1995. It's actually the day my mom passed away. Just weird how you associate different things with different things. All right, so we are in the first heat. We'll start on the outside, which sucks. I wish I was one row back, quite honestly. Oh, that's really cool, Edgar. I spent a lot of years in retail. I worked for Radio Shack for just over 5 years. Went to Sprint for about 2.5. And from there, I managed a Suncoast Motion Picture Store, selling DVDs. And then I started actually writing for RC Driver magazine in 2003. And then there was just a slight change to the business model in late '04, early '05, and I had to go back and get another real job. And the company I'm working for now was basically looking for someone to write rich content. I'm like, hey, I can write rich content, and Champaign is only 3.5, 4 hours away from Milwaukee, so I could get back home if and when I needed to. And quite honestly, at that point in my life, I was ready for a change of scenery. I was an idiot when I was younger. If I could move back to Milwaukee tomorrow, I would do it. But yeah, so I've been down here in central Illinois for almost 14 years now.
Last lap.
Well, we may just have a pole winner here. Hot diggity dog. I knew exactly what you meant, Edgar. You're fine. It would have been great to see, yeah, Mast. I think Brett Bodine shared the front row. Bodine was up there because was he running the 26 car at that point in time? No, I think he was already gone from the 26 car. Or maybe he wasn't. I don't remember. But I do remember he ran really well at that first one. It was kind of interesting, too. I think Mast was running an Oldsmobile at the time. The Buicks were already gone, but I think the Oldsmobiles were still there. So I used to run a lot of both carpet oval and high banked asphalt oval, along with dirt oval, in the early days of my RC racing. And one of the best, went way too hot into one. One of the best race car bodies that we ever had was the 1992 Pontiac Grand Prix. That thing was awesome. It wasn't until like the 96 Monte Carlo came out that the Grand Prix got displaced as far as basically the go-to body that we all ran. 2-second lead, I'll take that.
10 laps to go.
I've actually, like I was talking earlier, had a chance to meet quite a few NASCAR drivers. Probably one of the coolest ones. I got to meet John Hunter Nemechek when he was only like 6 or 7 years old. And his dad, Joe, and his mom came around and whatnot. And I mean, he hung out, and he would bring, like I say, we were just doing demos of RC cars there at Indy, and he just had his own, and they were hobby grade stuff. I mean, we all knew they were Team Associated cars, and we carried Team Associated, but that wasn't our house brand. So we're like, well, should we let him on here? It's like, he's a NASCAR driver's son. Yeah, shut up and let him run. He was cool. Brian Vickers, I got to talk to him quite a bit because I was running sound and DJing and everything. He is a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, so it's kind of neat to find that out. I didn't get to meet him at that event. Actually, it's not true. I had met him before then. But for the first 2 issues, you guys have seen the magazine. I've talked about this in the past. The RC Driver magazines that hang up on my wall next to my TV. The reason that those are there is because I worked very hard on both of those 2 books. I'm very proud of them. But I also managed to score an interview with Tony Stewart for the first 2 issues because he had just bought an RC company a couple months after he had won the championship in '02. Yeah, because it would have been April of '03, and I was able to interview him. But the coolest thing was going to an RC race later that year in November. Tony was there and being able to thank him in person for helping us out with that interview and just being super nice and gracious. His PR guy, Mike Arning, kind of an ass, though. In some ways, he reminds me of me. But he was just, his job was just to make sure that, Tony was well represented, that there was nothing that was going to make Tony look bad, and that, I mean, if he was taking an hour out of his day to do a PR piece, that it was worth his while. And we were able to get it all taken care of, which is really probably one of my proudest accomplishments, was being able to interview Tony Stewart and record that audio. So let's check the chat. Quaker Statesman Robinson, Danica Patrick, Tammy Jo Kirk, and Myra Racer. Ryan, you like the girl drivers, huh? Actually, the one driver that unfortunately never got a shake in the upper tiers of NASCAR was Kenny Wallace's, I think it was his oldest. Was it Kristen or Christine or something like that? She was stupid fast. And actually, Dale Jr.'s sister, Kelly, was actually faster than Junior was coming up at the grassroots. Well, I've only got a 400 and some odd point lead. I don't know if that's safe. See, what I want to do when I come out, by the way, Ryan, for Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I'm sure there's probably a K1 go-kart track somewhere out there. We got to go. I think that would be a blast to get a crew together and go do some go-kart racing. I love doing K1. I literally Googled female NASCAR drivers, post nothing wrong with them. That's hilarious. Nothing wrong with liking the ladies. By the way, even without looking, I know the first one, the Robinson you reference, is Shauna Robinson. That's how much of a NASCAR nerd I used to be. So my old home track used to be the Milwaukee Mile. I lived, we were, about 3 miles away from the mile? And it's actually ironic. The New Hampshire Motor Speedway is a clone of the mile, but the mile has less banking. This has like 11 degrees of banking in the corner, and the mile has 8. Other than that, it's exactly the same. And I could actually sit and work in my office that I had upstairs when I was writing for the magazine. I'd have my little scanner going, and when the teams were at the track to practice, because the Cup guys would come to the Milwaukee Mile to practice for New Hampshire, I could listen to the pit crews and everything. I missed that. Oh, I didn't change the setup at all. We're going to go back to the pits. I'll even bring my own balaclava with me, Ryan. I think that would be fun. Although it would be even more fun would be if we could get the track owner to let us do like Mario Kart style and actually be able to drop obstacles on the track. They'd never go for it. I guarantee you that. But it'd still be fun and funny to make that happen. I still can't believe that between you and Aaron, you guys talked me into coming out there for Portland Retro Gaming Expo. All right, we made some changes. We're going to go practice because we're talking practice. But yeah, these are the... I am playing through a stock GameCube, no mods or anything, but we are going through the Eon Gaming GCHD HDMI adapter. I am using my Wavebird as I cut off oncoming traffic. That was, that was poor form on my part. Ooh, got a good run coming off the corner, though. So, I know where I was going with the mile. So, the mile for years, they didn't have any NASCAR racing whatsoever at the Milwaukee Mile for years and years and years. They used to have some of the lower series run there, but they just stopped going. And it's not, the track was not configured for the Cup cars to be there. So what they ended up doing in the early 90s was they brought the Craftsman Truck Series there along with the Busch cars. And my folks and I went to both days of racing. The trucks ran Saturday, the Busch cars ran Sunday. And on Saturday, the former coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Jerry Glanville, actually, after he retired from coaching, became a NASCAR driver. A terrible NASCAR driver, but he still did it. Well, in the Truck Series race, he spun out 4 times in front of us at different parts in the race. And on Sunday, the Cup Series, they weren't running that weekend, so they had Darrell Waltrip was there in the number 17 Western Auto Chevrolet, and Rusty Wallace came because being Milwaukee, Miller, that's their home event, so Miller wanted Rusty there, and there were a couple other Cup guys that came too. So about a third of the way through the race, Rusty crashes out and whatnot, and they interview him. I mean, this goes back to when Spike TV was still TNN, so that's how long ago this was. So they put the microphone in Rusty Wallace's face after he crashes out. Rusty, what happened to the car? Well, the car was not very good all day long. I came out here and I did my best, but this is not one of our typical cars or tracks and whatnot. We rented it from someone else. I really didn't want to be here, but Miller wanted us here, so we came here. But no, I'm just glad that we can pack up and go home. So about 20 minutes later, Darrell Waltrip crashes out. And mind you, Darrell was both the driver and owner. And I guess word had gotten to him about what Rusty had said. Darrell, what happened to you out there? Oh, man, we're just out here. We're having a great time. And you know what? I really didn't want to be here either, but my car owner thought it was important for us to be here. And I thought that was hilarious when he did that, just kind of driving home the fact that he's both the owner and the driver. That was okay there. Did you talk to Robert today? Robert? No, I did not talk to Robert today. I've been meaning to email him because I haven't heard anything from him. Actually, I meant to email him today about that. So I need to email him just to try to get his phone number to talk to him on the phone so he can make sure everybody's on the same line or same page. It's after midnight. Sorry. It's technically Tuesday. This is my favorite NASCAR talk show on YouTube. Well, I used to do a NASCAR talk show, man. Sparky's Final Inspection on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. News and weather on the 20s. Probably the most fun I ever had doing that show, too, was the first time I had a caller hang up on me. And I turned to the producer, and I'm like, did he just hang up on me? And he kind of had a, sheepish grin on his face. He goes, yeah, I think he did. I'm like, that's awesome. He literally could not argue his point any further, so he just gave up. I win! And the funny thing is, as I mentioned earlier, that I am not a huge fan of the one and only Jimmy Johnson. It was a Jimmy Johnson topic, and it was right after Chad Knaus had gotten suspended again. And I just brought up the point of when are we going to call these guys what they are? They're cheaters. I said, and being a racer myself, granted, at a much different level, yes, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. But here's the other thing. If you cheat and you lose, you must really suck. So, and there are other guys who have pushed the limits and pushed the boundaries and not gotten caught like those guys have over the years. And there's pushing the rules and doing it with integrity, and then there's just being a dink, and they're just dinks. I've never been a fan of them. Left front. We're going to go a little bit negative there. And a little bit positive there. So basically what I'm doing there with the camera is I'm looking at my tire temps, and there you can see left to right, 129, 121, 118, and then on the right front it's 143, 139, 137. I'm trying to get that more even because that means that the tire is making full contact in the corner. Negative camber, or even positive camber for that matter, will help you with less rolling resistance on the straightaways, but you want to have as much tire on the track as you corner, and that's essentially what camber is making up for. Is as the chassis loads up and it rolls in the corner, it's going to change the contact patch of the tire. Going through the corner, you want the tire to have as much contact with the track as possible. That way it is working for you. Now where the car right there, if you notice through the middle of turns 3 and 4, it started sliding the front end. That could either be, it could possibly be that the front end is losing grip, but it's also very possible that the rear end has too much. And that's why I mentioned earlier too, if the car doesn't want to turn going into a corner, that's generally front end. If it doesn't want to turn coming out of a corner, that's normally rear end, assuming you're not applying too much throttle in either position. All right, Edgar, thanks for stopping by both streams tonight. I really appreciate it, my friend. Have a good night, and we will talk to you soon. Now, one thing I do have to say about this game that's not very realistic because it shows the stands being full, and if anyone has watched a NASCAR race recently, we all know that sure as hell isn't happening. And there you could hear the engine, how it kind of loaded up to middle of the corner out. That's me scrubbing speed and just not getting through the corner efficiently. And sometimes running the high line is the faster way to go because you actually keep the engine RPMs up. And while it's the longer way, it's the faster way around the track. But New Hampshire is just weird. The other thing I'm going to do, I don't know if I can change toe in on the front end. So if you can change the angle of the front tires so that instead of being straight, they're towed out a little bit, you can actually increase the steering rate on the car. The way to think of that is you tow out to turn in. Camber, nope. Nope. I wonder if I add a rear bar. We're going to try that. That's our last change, and then we're going to run this race, and then I think I'm going to bed. Oh, I guess I should have been watching where I was going instead of just flooring the gas. That was stupid. Interesting to your viewers mentioned in a video, in Asia right now, the Asian Games are going on. It's like the Olympics. I knew nothing about it. Generally, I'm not a big Olympics fan, so I don't tend to pay a whole lot of attention to stuff like that. They added this year 2 video games. Are you serious? What games did they add? If you tell me they added Smash and what am I thinking of? With the creepers, Minecraft, I'm gonna quit gaming. I feel like I carried more speed coming off that corner, but I was definitely way out of the groove. And I'm turning too many RPM. I need to go down one setting at least on the gears. I like what that rear bar is doing, though. So basically what a sway bar or an anti-roll bar does is it's basically just as it sounds, it's a bar, a piece of tube that connects one suspension arm with the other. As one side compresses, it actually pulls the other side up to keep the chassis flatter as it corners. By using different thicknesses, they will resist flexing more. So if you go with a super ultra thick bar, it's like running a strut or just a solid piece of metal between both of them, and they really won't work independently. If you don't run any sway bar whatsoever, then you can get lots of roll in the rear end, which will develop lots of grip, but it will not be very fast. Oh, dear Lord. League of Legends and StarCraft are in the Asian Games. Why? What? No. Just no. No, 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 no. That's like me saying because I race RC cars, I am a professional driver on a closed circuit, which I may or may not have used once or twice to try to pick someone up on a date. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about that anymore. All right, we're going to race it like that.
Hello, I'm Alan Best.
So we qualified 6th, looks like. Yep. So, and this is where it can be treacherous on a start. Ooh, got in that lighter gray stuff. There's no grip there. Got to stay in the groove. So it was on the outside of several cars and at the same time on a spot with very little grip. There's also different strategies to working setup depending on where you think you are going to start a race. So if you think you're going to be in traffic and not have the advantage of clean aerodynamics on the nose of your car, making the car have more mechanical grip on the nose would definitely be desirable. If you think you're going to be out front and in the open, going with a setup that is more balanced would be more advantageous. But if you run something like that and you get back in the pack without the aid of aerodynamics, it can have a lot of understeer. So the car just mid-corner out does not want to get back in the power band. All right, Ryan, thanks for stopping by. I will, I'll text you tomorrow if I hear from Robert. Actually, I'll text you tomorrow regardless if I hear from him or not. At least that way you know what's going on. That was weird the way it just sputtered coming out of the corner like that. Oh, got down there, moved him up, but couldn't make it stick. Running one spot behind from where I qualified. Now there I tried something different where I backed the corner up, so I got off the gas sooner, hoping that I'd be able to roll in underneath the 342 car and get position on him. This car isn't pushing, it's shoving. As we would say, it's plowing like a dump truck. Now, there I did the opposite, where I went in really deep to try to get a run on the car in front of me, and it bit me pretty hard.
Last lap.
Yeah, just could not move up at all. Car just did not want to carry roll speed.
Well, finished in the top half.
Yeah, finished 6th right where I qualified. 1st, 2nd, 3rd right where they started. That was terrible. Terrible. So we're going to get out of here. Do I sub? I do. He was actually in our stream earlier tonight, Kurt. And actually, it's funny because you mentioned that, and I was looking to see. Yeah, actually, he had sent me a tweet here in response to something he had asked. He had done a super chat earlier tonight, which I greatly appreciate. And he must have ducked out after I answered a question, or before I answered a question that he had asked. So we are going to save here. And I think, oh, we got one more Featherlight. What's this one? Welch Valley. Oh, I think this is the road course. I think we'll run the road course real quick, and then we're going to call it a night. He does do some interesting videos. I try. It's one of those things where I try to be a good member of the community, and at the same time, I got to be really careful about who I watch, because I'm just such a parrot, and I don't want to repeat something someone else said. And it makes it tough, because I want to support all these great creators. I mean, J Love was in here earlier on; she does great stuff. You know, John Riggs is amazing. Sean Long, Smash JT. There's NES Addict, Russ Lyman. Hey, Russ, what you doing? Russ, what you doing? Russ, what you doing? I've been meaning to do that for a bit. Daytona 500. What do you mean, Gio? Well, it's one of those things of, it's also just out of respect that if someone else, I know how I would feel if someone watched something that I did and then like went out and put something similar out. It would make me very frustrated. Now this is one of the, I think it might actually be the only road course that the modifieds have in this game. Now, back in the day when I had my GameCube originally, I loved the F1 game that EA put out on it, and I bought it again since I've gotten my GameCube again. I forgot that it was 4x3 letterbox, and just graphically, it's terrible. Way too hot into that corner. I do not have that one, Gio. I haven't really been able to collect much for the Dreamcast yet. I've got to get stuff for the Saturn, too. That's the other one. I was watching a lot of Saturn games on eBay the other day. I was actually on Saturday when I was at the race that I was actually racing and announcing. Early Apex there, that was terrible. And it was Die Hard, the arcade game, Earthworm Jim 2, and I forget what the third one was for the Saturn. And it was at like $70. I'm like, okay, I'd consider doing that because normally Earthworm Jim you're going to pay 65, $70 for, and to get the other two games, okay, great. In the last 30 seconds, it went up over $300. I'm like, no. Oof. We're going to back out. We'll just go straight to qualifying because I don't know that I'm going to do much better. Back up. Nope, didn't miss a ton besides me sucking at New Hampshire because I suck at flat tracks. So my fast lap around here is a 1:23.0. I love road course racing. I'm glad that at least they're introducing the concept of having a road course into the chase, which I hate the chase for the championship. I think it's just such a sham. I'm glad at least they're doing something with the Roval at Charlotte. And I'm also glad that we don't have to call it Lowe's Motor Speedway anymore. But I wish that they'd have a proper road course. I'd love to see them go to Road America or Road Atlanta. Even Mid-Ohio would be great. There's a track in Portland where they used to run the G.I. Joe's 250 with the Indy cars. Even up to Montreal to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve would have been great. But no, it's basically going to be Charlotte with a chicane. My headphones are going to need... was the best Sega system ever made? I'm going to answer it two ways. First of all, I think the most underrated system of all time from Sega is the Master System. It was a superior piece of hardware than the NES or the Famicom. It just was. It just didn't have the AAA titles for it. Nintendo was very good with their strategies to get their licensees lined up and committed that they were exclusive. I do think the greatest Sega console of all time is the Genesis, just because it had the best game library. That's why I prefer the Super NES over the NES. I think the library was just stronger. There were more games, I think, for the NES, but I think there were more great games for the Super NES. More industry-defining games, and I think Sega had that with the Genesis as well. There were so many awesome games for the Genesis that you just couldn't get duplicated anywhere else. Or if they were duplicated, it was a stripped-down version of the game. Mortal Kombat and Earthworm Jim, two perfect examples where, almost 2 seconds faster. I honestly, I have yet to finish hooking up my my Saturn yet. I've never even put power to it. And part of it is I still need to get games for it. Oh, and I've got the inside going into turn 1 too. That's awesome. Ooh, went a little bit too hot on the exit, but managed to get through there. That's okay. You're going to put 4 wheels to me. I'll put 4 wheels to you and take it right back. Now, come on, get around there. You know, I've got, at last count, I'm over 50 game consoles that I own, which is ridiculous. And nothing super rare, but probably my favorite piece of my collection is my Sharp Famicom Twin Turbo. Just the fact that it plays Famicom disk system games along with Famicom games is just awesome. The fact it has AV output, so I don't have to worry about, you know, finding a TV that tunes to channel 95.5 or whatever the Japanese equivalent was. Yeah, I have heard of Madden 93 for Genesis. I may have it. I got back probably 2 months ago now when Ginger was at one of her auctions that she serves food at. They rarely get in fact, they've never had video game stuff there before this one, she says. They had, you know, 2 lots, one that was like just a tote full of games and DVDs and VHSs, and also had 2 PlayStation 1s in there. Let's see, I got Mike Ditka football was in there in a cardboard box, not even the super nice plastic boxes. And there was a couple of versions of Madden in there too. I know that. I do not own a Game Boy Pocket. I have, for portables, I have an original Play It Out Loud Game Boy that I bought off of Adrian at Live Action Games. It was actually that was a good lap. Crap. Shut up and drive, I know. It was an estate that basically someone bequeathed to him. It was one of his customers that basically said, here's my lot. When he passed away, and he did. And then I picked up that orange Game Boy with the backlit mod at Missouri Game Con. I have my new 3DS XL. I have a DS, and Cassie, my daughter, has a Game Boy Advance SP. Those are the only portables I have. Oh, and I have a PSP. See, for home consoles, I have my Famicom, my Sharp Famicom Twin, my NES Toaster, my NES Top Loader, which I ruined, my Super NES, my Super NES Junior, my Super Famicom, my N60. I have 3 N64s. Let's see. 3 N64s. And the only reason why I have 3 N64s was I bought one to RGB mod, and there were 2 in the lot that Ginger bought me, or that I bought through Ginger at the auction. I've got my Spice Orange Japanese GameCube, my regular GameCube with the Game Boy Advance player that matches the color on each one of those. What else do we have? I have Master System, a Genesis Model 1, 2, a 32X, a Model 2 Sega CD, a PlayStation, 2 PlayStation 1s, a PlayStation 2, my PS3, my PS4, my Wii, my Wii U. Let's see, what else do I have? My Gamers Tech 8-bit HD, 16-bit HD, my Super Retrocade, my Super Retro Trio Plus, both from Retrobit, my Gamers Tech 8-bit Boy, my NES Classic Edition, Super NES Classic Edition, my Gamers Tech Mini Gen HD, my Super Retron HD. Crap, I don't know how many I've got. I got my Game Boy Pocket through T-Belly. That's awesome. Yeah, there's nothing to tour. Here, I'll turn it around. The room's a mess right now. So over there's where I do the like just stuff on the white background. There's that stuff there. And then we got, I don't want to disconnect the Elgato, but, you know, that stuff over there. And that's about it. I mean, it's kind of a boring, messy room that I need to do a little bit more with. So, but it is 12:30. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've got the Play It Out Loud one that I have. I don't know if it's considered to be a grape purple because it's like a really dark color. It might be black. I don't know. Yeah, so that's the first real look anyone's had at the room that I film in besides people who have been in here. And like I say, there ain't much to look at. Oh, I've got my Retron 5, too. I always forget about that one. What else? I don't know. I've got so many clones right now. It's ridiculous. Oh, the Pound Technology Super NES Super Famicom clone that I just recently reviewed. So, yeah, lots of stuff. But I think that's going to be it for me for tonight. It has been a long night. 2 streams, almost 3 hours worth of streaming tonight. So I want to thank you all for watching, for stopping by. I definitely appreciate it. Don't forget to give the stream a thumbs up if you could. That is always appreciated. Make sure if you're going to buy DOA, if you're going to buy an N64, get one that starts with serial number NS1. That way you can do Voltar's RGB mod, which makes it look so much better, especially when you use the HD Retrovision cables available through CastleManiaGames.com. So that'll definitely make it look a lot better there. PS2, there are component cables out there, so you don't have to do anything really special with it, but there is the adapter out there so that you can play PS2 through the HD Retrovision cables too. Yeah, above and beyond that, I think I'll DM you before I go live. That's awesome. And yeah, anything you guys can do to kind of give me feedback, what you want to see more of, less of, whatever, we will definitely do more. And this is one of those where I just wanted to do some driving tonight. DM you the number. Which number? What am I missing? I'm missing something. My number is 37 in a row. The number. What number was I DMing you? I'm feeling stupid that I'm not remembering what number I was supposed to DM you. I need my wavebird. Oh! Here. Basically, if you check out DOA, check out my tutorial that I did on how to install the RGB mod kit from Voltar into the N64. I cover it right in there. So, yeah, this is a great game, especially if you're into racing at all. Kind of wish that this was still kind of how NASCAR was, but unfortunately it's not. That will do it for me tonight, this morning. When we're at right here, right now, let's see if did I clinch the championship? That was my second win of the season. Season standings, what do we get? Anything? Anything? Nope. And then above and beyond that, I do have the same kind of RGB mod video that I'm working on right now on the Super NES Mini. So tested that out last week too. They're just super fun. They work great. I just hate the fact that the OSSC works like poop on the Super NES. But with the RetroTink coming soon, hopefully we will have that addressed. So